Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the regular scheduled Village Board meeting on February 25th, 2025. With that, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lana, roll call, please.
Mayor DeBold.
Here.
Trustees Amos.
Here.
Brockman.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Luciano.
Here.
And Southbridge.
All right, we do have a quorum for this evening to conduct business. With that, we will move on to our citizen section. Are there any citizens wishing to address the Village Board? And if you, sir, please just state your name for the record.
Yes, Mayor. Robert Schwartz. I reside at 304 North Brookshore Drive for probably 54 years. I rise in support of the annexation of the County Line Solar Farm. As you know, I'm not in favor of solar farms, but I'm in favor of this annexation. It's one piece of the puzzle that's going to protect your southern and western borders. Just like the fire department, we jumped into Kendall County and got a warm welcome, and wasn't too bad signing into that Chatham agreement. Kendall County Line Power, it's an ideal site for them because with the infrastructure there, for them next to Kendall Power's base load generating station, they got access to the grid. They're going to build it there, and as you know, they don't need Shorewood. Like they said before at the last meeting, they don't need their streets plowed, they don't need police protection, they don't need sewer and water. But you need that annexation, you need that piece of that puzzle to protect your borders. And I respectfully request you annex that agreement under the Chatham agreement into Shorewood. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, members of the board.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
I'm on my way to do that, sir.
Sure.
My name is Felipe Francini. I live in Edgewater of Shorewood, and I'm here to look at where my tax dollars are going and and to look at close proximity at the bunch of maggots that feed off my taxes. And I'm not referring to every single one of you, but there's a bunch of maggots here present today. I have requested documents from Shorewood to FOIA, and I've been waiting for those documents. One of them is the annexation agreement for the village of Shorewood, which has been repeatedly denied. You guys create HOAs to save dollars and to double tax individuals living homeowners association. Then you go place tyrants to manage those associations that double taxes and disadvantage individuals of color and the disabled. I'm 100% disabled. I applied to do a modification at my home to put a sidewalk so I could have a wheelchair under ADA from my home to the street and to my service vehicle, which is a van. You have a bunch of maggots here that was sent here by your administrator telling me that I'm not entitled to have a sidewalk. I think you guys need to revisit. I'm going to be here doing a bunch more FOIAs so I can address to you guys through the proper channels. Okay? I'm a veteran. I'm 100% disabled. And please address it to this bunch of maggots that sending me letters telling me that I'm not entitled to a sidewalk, okay? A bunch of others, especially board members at my HOA, have widened their driveways without the need that I have. I need a sidewalk for my wheelchair, okay? In particular, I'm gonna refer to Mr. Noriega, Mr. Bob Storioti. I have communications. If I'm gonna pay for a bunch of maggots to feed off my tax dollars, I expect you to hold them accountable. And I forgot your administrator. I don't know where he's at.
Right here, Felipe.
Okay. I got emails from him, okay? He requested a meeting. I want that meeting. I want to record my meeting because I'm tired of the lies spit out by Mr. Noriega, by Mr. Storioti, feeding me a bunch of bullshit that is not true, okay? I understand my rights, and I understand that my taxes deserve to be honored. I moved from paying $3,000 a year to paying $10,000. I don't want you to cater to me. I'm not asking the village to pay for my sidewalk. Look around the village sidewalks. I had an accident with my wheelchair in one of my sidewalks. I have pictures. I addressed those sidewalks. My wheelchair got damaged. I got hurt, and I have pictures. And now, when it comes to getting that sidewalk fixed, the HOA and the village are throwing the ball. Oh, that's HOA jurisdiction. Oh, no, that's village jurisdiction. All of you are full of shit. You know whose
You're
jurisdiction.
gonna have to watch your language,
Yes,
sir.
free speech understand free speech, please. I serve this country because I believe in free speech, okay? My speech is protected by that. Look at your ordinance, look at what the law says. Whose jurisdiction those sidewalks are? Get it clear. Is it the HOA or is it the village? I can tell you, my firm belief is the village. But stop throwing the ball back and forth and come and fix my sidewalks and my subdivision. Make them accessible for the disabled. I'm not the only disabled individual in my HOA. There's a wheelchair-bound individual that cannot have mobility unless he's using his wheelchair. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any other citizens wishing to address the village board this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to this evening's consent agenda. Item number 1 will be approval of the regular meeting minutes from February 11th, 2025. Item 2 is approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes from February 11th, 2025. Item 3 will be approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes from February 18th, 2025. Item 4 will be approval of accounts payable in the amount of $404,261.55. Item 5 will be approval of a payment in the amount of $474,590.65 to D Construction Services for the 2024 Earl Geneva Road Reconstruction Project. Item 6 is approval of payment in the amount of $13,499.55 to Shorewood Police Shop with a Cop program. Item 7 is approval of a payment in the amount of $40,000.80 to Axon Enterprise for five-year contract for 14 of the Taser 7 devices. And item number 8 will be approval of a payment in the amount of $114,539.62 to Hacienda Landscaping for the River's Edge Park Phase A project. Are there any items that a board member has a question or needs any further explanation under this evening's consent?
I had a question on 5. Is that project complete or is it still ongoing?
Earl Geneva is not complete yet. We still have sidewalks, landscaping, and streetlights, and we still also have to finish the roadway itself.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Sir? If there's no other questions, take a motion to approve the consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by trustee Luciano, second by trustee Chapman. Roll call, please.
Brockman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yeah.
Luciano.
Yes.
And Amos.
Yes.
All right, with that, we'll move into reports and communications for this evening. Lana, had you received anything prior to this evening's meeting?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We'll just continue on to this evening's order of business. Item number 1 is a reconsideration for approval of an ordinance approving and authorizing an annexation agreement for RPIL 12 LLC, which is also known as the County Line Solar Kendall County Project. Ms. Engel will run through this again. This is a project we talked about 2 weeks ago. There seem to be some additional questions on it, so some additional information from the petitioner with the village has been evolved, and with that, we'll let Ms. Engel kind of give a recap of the project.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. As you'll recall from the last meeting, RPIL 12 LLC, which is represented by Jeremy Price of Renewable Properties, is interested in developing property on the west side of County Line Road between Bell Road and the future Mound Road extension. The property is owned by Manuka AG Holdings LLC, which is owned and represented by Dennis Martin as well as 2 other individuals. And they've entered into a 20-year lease with 3 5-year extensions. Since they're not yet contiguous to the village, they've proposed a Chatham annexation agreement. So basically what happens is they'll be subject to the village's land use, zoning, development regulations, building regulations, even though they're not incorporated until one of the property annexes. They've also proposed I-2 general zoning district classification, as well as a conditional use permit for a commercial solar energy facility. And they have proposed some zoning and development code variations. This is the site plan, access to the properties off of County Line Road. They'll be doing a dedication of 50 feet from center line of County Line Road. There's a secondary emergency access only off the south end of the property. They'll be dedicating 100 feet of right-of-way along the south end of their property for the future Mound Road extension. The purple line represents a fenced area, and inside that fenced area will be the solar field. It will be made up of photovoltaic solar arrays arranged in rows. There'll be a maximum of 20 feet tall, which meets our code, and they'll move to follow the sun. There are 3 different types of perimeter landscaping around it. They've asked for a couple of landscaping variances. The first is to have the same number of landscape points, but to require evergreen and shrub trees around the property instead of typical overstory trees. Instead of placing parkway trees along County Line Road, they would like to provide a dedication equivalent to the amount that it would cost to plant those trees, so that we could plant those elsewhere in the village. And they would also like to be able to plant crops within the fenced area. The most likely crop that they would plant would be hay, but it could also be some other type of low vegetable crop. There are some zoning variance requests that they asked for. 5 of those are the same as came forward 2 weeks ago. One of them being to allow overhead power lines for the utility interconnection. Another one being regarding the landscaping that we just discussed. One being to reduce the setback to 50 feet along the Mound Road area since they'll be doing the dedication. And in addition to that, there are a couple of variances that they've made some modifications to since we last discussed. They had originally asked for a 3-year effective period from the time that their zoning variances and their conditional use are approved instead of the 1 year required by code. Since the last meeting, they've reduced this request so that now they'll submit their completed applications to the village and other governmental agencies within that 1 year period. And provided that they've submitted everything and responded to all comments within a reasonable time frame, which we consider to be 60 days, they can get a maximum of 2 6-month extensions. So that means that they would have to really be under construction within 2 years of approval. This is sort of an 11th hour adjustment that they made based on some of the comments, so you do have a red-lined copy of those pertinent sections in front of you this evening. With regard to the development codes, they've asked for 3 variations. One being that they'll dedicate the road right-of-way along County Line Road, but not actually do the reconstruction that's typically required. And the other 2 being a waiver of the requirement to build the sanitary sewer main extension and the water main extension that typically accompany new development. Since that last meeting, they have agreed to pay an impact fee of $300,000. This fee was calculated by myself and by our consultants based on the estimated cost of the roadway and water main improvements, less the value of the land being dedicated for the Mound Road extension. We didn't include sanitary sewer, not because we didn't think it was appropriate, but because essentially they'll be at the end of the sanitary sewer line, so there's nobody downstream that would benefit from it. Those are the modifications. I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant as well as the attorney are also in the audience should you have any questions of them.
Mr. Price, are there anything that you guys want to touch on or any comments?
Mayor Bold, trustee, staff, want to say thank you for your efforts on this project to date. We believe our refining of the application addresses the criteria that you guys were looking for, and of course are here to answer any questions. We look forward to bringing this project to the village of Shorewood.
Anybody have, any board members have any additional questions or anything?
Seeing none, make a motion to approve an ordinance approving and authorizing an annexation agreement for RPIL 12 LLC, County Line Solar, Kendall County, Illinois.
Second.
Motion trustee Brockman, seconded by trustee Chapman. Roll call, please.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Amos,
Yes.
and Brockman.
Yes.
It's an just add me to the roll as a, since it's an annexation. All right, so item number 1's been approved. Moving on to business. Yes, sir, Mr. Silverman.
I couldn't hear. You could vote on this one.
What was that, sir?
You get to vote on this agreement?
I did.
Okay, I apologize.
No worries, sir. Thank you, sir. Business item number 2 will be consideration for approval of an ordinance granting a zoning map amendment to the I-2 zoning district, granting a conditional use for a commercial solar energy facility, granting variances from Title 10 to the Village Code, and granting modifications from Title 11 of the Village Code with regard to the County Line Solar Project. First read, Mr. Brockman and Ms. Engel.
And this is a continuation
If you
of,
don't mind, Mayor, I'll just turn this right over to Natalie.
Sure.
Thank you.
and this is a continuation. Basically, the last ordinance was for the annexation agreement. This ordinance covers the zoning to I-2, the conditional use permit for the commercial solar energy facility, the zoning variances, and the development code modifications.
Of the said project that we just discussed. Anybody have any questions any further on that then? If not, the cake and motion, and we can waive a second read on this.
Seeing no other questions or concerns, I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance granting a zoning map amendment to the I-2 zoning district, granting a conditional use for a commercial solar energy facility, granting a variance from Title 10 of Village Code, and granting modifications from Title 11 of Village Code with regard to County Line Solar Project, and waive the second read.
Second.
Motion by trustee Brockman, seconded by trustee Carroll. Roll call, please.
Chapman?
Yes.
Luciano?
Yes.
Amos?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And Carroll.
Yes.
All right, item 2 has been approved. Gentlemen, thanks for your time and your efforts of going back and forth and getting clarifications and making certain, again, different concerns got addressed through the project. With that, business item number 3 will be a concept plan for an industrial building on the southeast frontage road. Ms. Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. Bill Slavic has joined us this evening because he has requested concept plan review for an industrial building on Southeast Frontage Road, as you mentioned. The property is the only property on the east side of I-55 south of Jefferson Street. When we last spoke about it, there was interest in building a self-storage facility, but they've since decided that that's not the right property for the project, and they're more interested in building a an industrial building. Basically, what they're proposing is a 10,200 square foot metal building with a single loading dock. The building will be serviced by a parking lot with room for 8 cars and 41 trucks or trailers. There will be an access road that will run along the south side of the property, providing access from Southeast Frontage Road to this building, as well as to the property to the west, which is currently farmed. This is a closer in view of the project. Basically, what's shown in purple is the industrial building. In orange, you have the loading dock. The areas in green are landscaped, and what they're expecting to do is build a berm with some landscaping and a solid fence on top between the 7 residential properties that face Southeast Frontage Road and this parcel, so that is shown in green. There are also 8 standard parking spaces, including 1 ADA space, and all the parking spaces we talked about. Shown in blue are the 2 areas that they're expecting to put the detention. Basically, this is a concept plan, so nothing is up for approval this evening, but the applicant has requested your feedback, any questions you have, so that he can address them when deciding whether to move forward with the project, and also, when drawing any final engineering plans.
With that, this project was discussed at Planning and Zoning last night. Trustee Brockman, anything that you want to kind of expound on as how your group had a discussion on this and what the...
The 2 things that came up were the amount of traffic on Frontage Road now and 41 additional trucks, but I don't think they'll be moving in and out on a daily basis. I doubt it. I think he's got the worst problem, the houses that are close by. He's going to put an 8-foot berm and a 6-foot fence on top of that. So I think he's got your right direction there as far as problems that may occur. But that's all industrial there south of you, so I don't think the few more trucks are going to make any difference. That's what we got from the planning and zoning last night. So,
Yeah, my only comments to this would be is it's immediately adjacent to an existing industrial development. I would ask, I would reiterate, as was said from planning and zoning, that a berm and fencing in there to help screen that. If there's any lighting, that obviously we would keep into consideration light spill, so it's not, interrupting any of those homes over there. I would like to think that the new interchange would funnel traffic that way as opposed to going down that frontage road. So I'd like to hope as that interchange becomes updated and any of these different mapping systems, they're routing traffic that way through that full interchange rather than up and down that frontage road, so.
You're not looking for any pavement expansion in front of this entrance, are you, as far as turn lanes or anything?
I think Natalie had the drawing up. It's kind of a challenging site actually, because we do have two pipelines across. You can see those two dotted lines there through the green area. And we do have to provide a ingress egress for the piece to the east of us, which is to the right of the screen. Those are the two pipelines, and then that's the piece to the east where we have to provide access. So this was the best drawing we could come up with. We don't have an end user in sight, but I'm here to represent the owner. This is what he was looking to do with the piece, so.
Is that how they get to that field now? They have to go through this property?
Actually, there's no access. There's no access to that field in the back, so the owner that farms that, he does cut across Mr. Acosta's property.
Okay.
Again, this is just a concept plan, so if anybody has any thoughts, questions, concerns,
And the building size again is like 12,000 square feet?
It's 11.
10,200
Oh, 10,000, okay.
plus a dock. Was it an exterior dock or a built-in dock?
It's an exterior, that orange area is just covered. That orange area is just covered roof. There'll be an overhead door there for the forklift to go out, unload a truck, store things inside.
Is this the same area where the other storage area was?
they're gonna vacate the storage facility. It was my understanding, because Joliet just approved a rather large one right in the immediate
They
vicinity.
wanted to do that 3-story, it was gonna be a 3-story building there where he's gonna do the heated and cooled, climate control storage. So we're here talking to you folks a few months back, and we cleared the land this fall and started working on some engineering, and it just ended up not working out as far as cost, for one. The second problem was on Jefferson Street where that old hotel was. They just tore that down until they approved the big U-Hauls, so they're gonna sell boxes and rent trucks, and he just didn't feel like it was a good fit or a good risk for his investment. It's something that big with more of an A site versus this site being a B site. Where we're not doing that.
Is this a storage facility also?
No, this would just be a small industrial, just a small industrial, like, what is it, 10,000 square foot building.
So all the trucks are for a reason,
Well, like I said last night, sir, we're not representing that we're gonna bring trucks. I mean, it could be a plumbing company, it could be electrical store, it could be, and we don't know who the user's gonna be. I just don't wanna risk my reputation and show 5 car parking spots and then put 20 trucks there and mislead you folks. So I'd rather represent that we do have parking, we can accommodate trucks, we have the turnaround space, it does all fit. And, I mean, there's way bigger warehouses. Eagle Lab just built a big facility there. Rango just put I think it's a 30,000 or 25,000 square foot building right just to our south. So I don't think, and if someone has 40 trucks, they don't have 40 trucks in and out every day. They're on the road, they come in for maintenance, things of that nature.
The question I have is, when you mention trucks, what size trucks? Talking about 18-wheelers, are we talking about just cube trucks or stuff like that?
I mean,
Your parking's gonna be for accommodate what kind of trucks?
so the drawing that we have will accommodate a semi-trailer. Whether or not that's what comes there, I can't speak to that as of right now.
So the property to the south is industrial. The property to the east and north, immediately adjacent to it, is residential. We don't know what the property to the west, the property to the west and north is residential. We don't know what the property to the east will ultimately develop as. Joliet has a very different type of comprehensive plan where they do sub areas, and this just wasn't covered. So it's very possible that there will be some industrial there too. It may also swing to multifamily residential.
I have no problem with the industrial building, I'm just wondering about what kind of truck traffic it's gonna run.
Yeah, I think that's,
I mean, that's,
yeah, it
it's
sounds like he
easy to
doesn't necessarily
say,
have
I
that,
don't know.
yeah, he doesn't know right now, like I said, obviously they're just trying to feel out whether or not it's
And I have
worth
to see him go into a project and find out when he comes back later,
so.
but I have no problem with the building.
Any other comments for that gentleman? All right. Business item number 4 is a discussion of an extra jurisdictional review for an event venue at South County Line Road and Baltz Road. Ms. Engel again.
Thank you. Mr. Slavic is also working with the Acosta family on their plans for an event venue at the northeast corner of County Line Road and Baltz Road. There's a 10-acre homestead at that location that they've purchased, and they would like to build an event venue. I've circled in green the 3 buildings that are existing that they'd like to keep. There is a home with a swimming pool, and there are also 2 outbuildings. There is 1 building that I've X'd off in this drawing, and that is a barn that's in disrepair, so they'll be removing that as part of the project. What they're planning is a 9,417 square foot venue, sort of like a farm style type place that's very popular for weddings and other types of events now. They've got a 105 square foot parking lot, a drop off area where people entering the parking lot can drop off people going to an event. Their building is surrounded by gardens and paths. They have a stormwater pond drawn to the north of the project that looks like it's big enough that it will definitely accommodate this area. They've got a septic field because they're planning to develop in Will County, so it would be on septic and well. And they've also got a water tank in the event that they ever have to fight a fire there. They cannot do a Chatham annexation agreement on this property because it's in Will County, and Will County isn't eligible for a Chatham annexation, but they have expressed some interest in coming in and working with Shorewood, even though this would be developed in the county. This is an example of a similar building that they've developed. It's like a barn-style building with a large central hall and other rooms on the periphery. And this is an example of a floor plan if they had it set up banquet style, say as a wedding with a dance floor and banquet tables around it. Mr. Slavic is here should you have any questions or if you'd like any additional details about that. We did discuss it yesterday at the Plan Commission meeting. Trustee Selfridge wasn't able to be here, so he did forward on a couple of questions for consideration that I'd like to read, and the Plan Commission did discuss these and sort of echoed some of his sentiments. He said that if given a variance to operate in a residential planning area, in what ways could the event space impact future residential development, and how would that future residential development impact the event space? For example, would the village need to limit outdoor activities after a certain hour, say 10 p.m., if a residential development is nearby? Is that something to consider before residential development is started? Also, what about traffic on Baltz Road? The intersection of Baltz Road and 52 is dangerous at times because it is almost a T intersection, but at the same time, not really, since you can go west on Baltz Road without stopping. If there is more traffic on that road pulling out into 52, are there ways to mitigate traffic risks? It's very dark, lanes aren't marked, and the speed limit is high. Would any safety concerns have to go through IDOT? In the case of these roads, we can answer that they wouldn't have to go through IDOT. They would be local roads. But obviously, the consideration to the access points would have to be considered. At this point, what they're proposing is an access onto Baltz Road, and the home and the outbuildings would continue to have their access onto County Line Road, but the two would not be connected. The Plan Commission did discuss these. They had I think they generally liked the idea of the event venue, but did have some concerns about the traffic coming out at night. Trustee Brockman, would you agree?
I would, exactly right, that was, and I think the administrator pointed out that eventually they're at 52 and County Line will be a roundabout, and so that'll work just fine, I think. And I think there was also a question about housing development close to this in the future, and they've got 10 acres, so they're pretty well remote from any homes that come in there, I think, in the future, so.
I think it's a good project. On a project of this size, they're gonna have to make some improvements to Baltz Road as that project goes along. Lighting will be, obviously would have to be a requirement, especially especially if you're talking about a venue with hundreds of people in there, so I'm certain you guys factor all those type of considerations and whatnot in. As trustee Brockman said, we're aware that IDOT's working on improving 52 and County Line Road with a roundabout, so there'll be some additional lighting out there as well. You know, sound mitigations concerns, if this project continues to move forward, is something we would address as well to make certain in that regard. My biggest question would be, since this is being looked at through the county side right now, is the builder or the landowner willing to sign a pre-annexation agreement to the village?
Yes, you'd be willing to sign a pre-annexation agreement.
I'd like to hear that. So I think the fact that they're willing to work with us on this and try to meet some of our code requirements and safety protocols in that regard, I think those are all positive signs. I think it'd be a great addition out here.
I think that one of the commissioners pointed out that something like this is needed in this area as well. So,
Agreed.
So
As
I,
far as the sound and residential around it, I mean, with the current energy code that's required in all the installation, it is an interior venue, so I don't really think the sound is gonna be an issue. It's not an outdoor venue, so I don't think that would be an issue whatsoever.
One thing that I failed to mention was there is a plan potentially in the future to also have what they label as a motel on there. It sounds like it would be rooms for, like bridal rooms or something like that for people who's staying there.
It came up in conversation. There's a venue in Plainfield, I don't know, maybe some of you been there to the farm. It's a farmhouse or the farm or something. One thing a lot of people have asked is if there was a place to stay on site. So he thought maybe eventually there would be there's room in the back where he could do 20 by 20 rooms with a bathroom, a bed, kind of like a little kitchenette where someone could stay for 1 or 2 nights, maybe the day before the wedding, the bridal party, maybe the parents. So maybe 4 or maybe 8 rooms, not a hotel per se, but accommodations for the venue for the bride and groom, parents.
A reception house, so to speak, or a greeting house perhaps, or something of
The
that
rooms
nature.
would be joined by a door, so, you know, if your mom and dad are next door, or your brother-in-law or whatever, hang out, and maybe a patio in the back, something like that, but that's not gonna be in phase 1. He just wants to get the thing open, see what happens in the future.
Anybody else have any questions on this? Looks good.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to business item number 5 would be a consideration for approval of a proposal from Aries in the amount not to exceed $40,000 for construction services along US 52 at ComEd's right-of-way and waive the formal bid process. Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is for our US 52 water and sewer extension project across the ComEd and the Canadian National Railroad tracks to the west along 52. This is one of our first phases of our utility improvements to push utilities to the west and eventually also push utilities on the west side to the north all the way to Black Road to help improve water flow circulation at the end of our system for our water distribution system. As part of ComEd's permit requirements, as we are submitting to their office, they are requiring that we field, verify, and locate some of the pipelines that are located within the right-of-way. We need to find out the exact location by survey and also the exact location depth-wise. So the coordination will be required with ComEd, the railroad, IDOT, each of the pipelines itself, CBEL for the survey work as required. We requested 3 proposals from 3 different local contractors with Aries as the low. Work will be billed as a time and material basis. We are requesting a purchase order not to exceed $40,000 to cover any unforeseen extras. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to be able to locate these facilities. Staff is recommending the village board waive the formal bid process and approve the proposal from Aries with an amount not to exceed $40,000. Any questions?
So for clarification, Ariel, this is just a requirement from IDOT, or is this going to be a requirement from ComEd for the locations?
It is a requirement of the pipelines through ComEd's permit requirements.
Okay. So this would just be a formality of a request for us to continue for the
Correct.
utility extension?
Yes, in order for us to get the permit from ComEd.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions on this? If not, take a motion to approve item 5.
So moved.
Motion,
Agenda item number 5.
motion by trustee Chapman
Second.
and seconded by trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Luciano,
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
and Chapman.
Yes.
Item 5 has been approved. Item number 6 will be a consideration for approval of a change order from Performance Pipelining in the amount of $40,092.73 for our sanitary sewer I&I Basin 6 project. Public Works again.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is our basin number 6 project. It is almost complete. We had some long delays because we were working in an area where IDOT was also working, specifically the bridge along 59 over the DuPage River. So our work had to be postponed until IDOT had cleared the area. Project is currently under budget by almost a little over $36,000. During our project, we had requested the contractor to investigate 2 local flood nuisances that we have very close by to basin number 6. Both locations, we found heavy roots in the pipe itself. In one of the pipes, we also found a significant amount of joint concerns, and in the other location, we found significant amount of voids in the top of the pipe. Seabell did the inspection with the contractor, videotaping it. They are recommending that we line those 2 storm sewer lines as quickly as possible. Utilizing the contract price that we have right now with Performance Pipelining, the estimate is approximately a little over $40,000. Since we are under budget by $36,000, this will increase our contract to about a little over $380,000 on that contract. The original contract price that was approved was $377,194. If approved, we'll be able to work with the contractor to start this repair work as soon as possible. Staff is recommending the village board approve the change order in an amount of $40,092.73, increasing the contract to a total of $380,432.73. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions on the pipelining project?
You're saying 593 feet's gonna be lined
Correct.
in 2 different spots.
2 different spots.
Boy, that's a long ways.
Yes.
Needs to be done,
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve as read.
Item 6 has been motioned by trustee Amos,
Second.
second by trustee Chapman. Roll call, please.
Amos,
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
and Luciano.
Yes.
All right, item number 7 will be a consideration for approval of the payment in the amount of $23,448 to Base Excavating for the emergency sanitary force main repairs. Public Works again.
Thank you, Mayor. So the lift station at Sile Road handles approximately 70% of Shorewood's wastewater. And we send that over to the city of Joliet for wastewater treatment. We convey all of that wastewater through one force main that is along Sile Road. On Thursday, January 30th, staff had found that we had suffered basically a main break on that force main. So because of the location of the force main, because of the depth of the force main, none of our equipment can reach it. We had to request the assistance from a local contractor. Base was the contractor that we had reached out to right away. They responded immediately. Friday, that work was completed and repaired for most of that day. Staff is recommending the village board approve the pay request from Base Excavating in the amount of $23,448 even. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Make a motion to approve the payment in the amount of $23,448 to Base Excavating for the emergency sanitary force main repair.
Second.
Motion by trustee Amos, second by trustee Luciano. Roll call, please.
Brockman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman, Luciano,
Yes.
and Amos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I back up?
Yeah.
You know, what was the failure on that force main?
We found almost a fist size, about a 3 to 4 inch hole at the top of the pipe.
Corrosion?
We don't know. We don't think it's corrosion. The pipe itself is in good shape, just something punched through the pipe.
Strange.
Yeah, this is not a repair, unlikely repair on that line.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Could I ask another question?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Didn't Slavic come from the north underneath of the Sile Road to get to the south side with a sewer line?
That is correct.
And was that anywhere near this?
No, it was a couple 100 feet away,
It was,
yes.
okay.
And the work was completed long before this break occurred.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, moving forward, item number 8 is a consideration for approval of an ordinance regulating electronic cigarettes and tobacco products within the village of Shorewood. This item is up for a first read. Chief Harney.
Good evening. We recently discovered that our current tobacco ordinance was not updated when the Illinois compiled statutes regarding tobacco products was changed a few years back. Council has researched and created an amendment to Title III, Chapter 16. If the board approves Title III, Business and License Regulations, Chapter 16, entitled Tobacco of the Shorewood Village Code, will be repealed in its entirety and replaced with a new Chapter 16, entitled Tobacco Products and Electronic Cigarettes. Recommended ordinance is in your packet. This is only a first read tonight. Any questions?
Can we wait?
No, we can waive the first read.
So move and wait the second.
Actually, I think we want to have it only a first read. Talked with Mr. Silverman today, and he recommended that we only do a first read tonight.
Yeah.
There's just a couple things in the ordinance we want to go back and double check and make sure that we have clarity on. So if we could, we just soon hold off and make sure that there may be 1 or 2 things we want to add to it.
Very good. Anybody have any questions on it as proposed right now then? All right, we'll leave item 8 as a first read.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to business item number 9. 9 and 10 are going to be very similar. Item 9 is a consideration for approval of a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a farm lease agreement by and between the Village of Shorewood and Illinois Municipal Corporation and Edwin and Leona Meyer, LP, and Illinois Limited Partnership on the vacant land at Black Road. Mr. Klima.
So like the mayor said, the 9 and 10 farm leases are identical except for the location and the size of the parcels. Farm leases are nothing new. We've been using them for years to maintain vacant property that the village owns. Most notably the one right across 52 where the YMCA is being built. It was farmed for years after the village acquired it. So the first one's for vacant land on Black Road. That's going to be the 40-acre parcel between Town Center and Black Road. And then the item number 10 will be the 10 acres we purchased out in the area of Black and County Line Road for the future Grand Prairie Water Commission improvements when we need a second receiving station. Some of you had asked questions about the farm lease costs and numbers. Those were updated with the advice of farmers in the area. The farming family has approved this, and I'll take any other questions you might have.
No other questions?
We'll take a motion to approve.
Approve a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a farm lease agreement by and between the Village of Shorewood and Illinois Municipal Corporation and Edwin and Leona Meyer, LP, Illinois Limited Partnership.
Motion by trustee Brockman, second trustee Amos. Roll call, please.
Carroll.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
And Brockman.
Yes.
All right, and item number 10 will be the same thing. It's a consider for different, for our water commission location. So it is the consideration for approval of a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a farm lease agreement by and between the Village of Shorewood and Illinois Municipal Corporation and Edwin and Leona Meyer, LP, an Illinois Limited Partnership. As the Administrator Klima said, this is just the same agreement. This is obviously just recognizing the parcel of land that we have for our future receiving station out on County Line Road. If there's no additional questions.
Just for information, is the other 40 gonna be farmed by them also out there?
Yes, the city of Joliet and the Grand Prairie Water Commission entered into agreements with the same farmer for the same
Correct.
purpose.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a farm lease agreement by and between the Village of Shorewood and Illinois Municipal Corporation and Edwin and Leona Meyer LP and Illinois Limited Partnership.
Second.
Motion trustee Brockman, second trustee Chapman, roll call please.
Chapman?
Yes.
Luciano?
Yes.
Amos?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And Carroll.
Yes.
All right, item number 11 will be consideration for approval of a resolution adopting a non-union employee pay plan. Administrator Clinton.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'd come to you a couple months ago with the results of the compensation analysis that we had done with MGT that gave us the comparable communities. Staff since then has gone out to all of those 16 communities and compiled the salary ranges from all of those communities, thus establishing the attached pay scale proposed for the non-bargaining unit members for this fiscal year. This is something you've seen every year for many years. The ordinance dictates, or personnel manual, dictates that I develop a compensatory pay plan that's fair and equitable. So that is what is before you for your consideration tonight. I'll take any questions.
Shadi, is there anything you want to add to this? I know you helped with this.
Yep, just like Karen said, we spoke a couple months ago, we were able to reach out to the communities and get a fair assessment of the different positions and the different roles in the salary scales. And what you have in front of you is the different communities and kind of where we range. And then we gave you our recommendations for the salaries based off of that.
You know what the percentages were from 23, 24 to these, roughly, average?
Some of them are 3%, and some of them were higher based on some of the adjustments that needed to be made to be more equitable with the market. But I didn't articulate.
Shorewood, you mean?
For Shorewood, yes.
Okay.
Are we presently within these ranges now?
Yes.
For formality, we just need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Carroll and seconded by trustee Luciano. Roll call on that one, please.
Luciano?
Yes.
Amos?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
Carroll?
Yes.
And Chapman?
Yes.
Item 11 is approved. Item number 12 will be consideration for approval of an ordinance creating an additional Class B2 liquor license. This item is for a first read. Pizza Ranch is looking to be able to sell some liquor within their establishment. So kind of similar to what some of the other Marciano's and a couple other establishments have. So nothing too earth-shattering, but they've gone through the background application. They've all passed all that, hence we bring it forward to you guys for approval. Any questions on that?
Make a motion to approve an ordinance creating an additional Class B2 liquor license and waive the second read.
Motion by trustee Brockman. Second trustee Chapman. Roll call, please.
Amos?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
Carroll?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
And Luciano?
Yes.
All right, that concludes the order of business. With that, we move into our trustee comments section. Trustee Amos.
No comments.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Trustee Brockman.
Thank you, Mayor. We had our planning and zoning meeting last night. It was a makeup for February 5th, when we had the ice storm. And I think we covered everything tonight, didn't we? In our.
Auburn Chase.
Oh, yeah. Lennar came forward and with a very lengthy discussion on their project south of Sile and west of the railroad tracks. So that looks fabulous, and I think they'll be back shortly. So.
Very good.
And our next meeting should be March 5th with at least three agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Carroll.
Okay.
Thank you. Trustee Chapman.
Just one, like to thank the gentleman out in the audience for his service. I think we missed that with all the
all that was going on, that we didn't say thank you for the service that you gave to our country? Yes. Pardon?
He does not live in Edgewater, no.
There used to be. No, that's all right. The last time I was called a maggot, there was a Vietnamese guy outside the helicopter doorway cussing me out. So I'm kind of used to it. I'm all right. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Chapman?
I will visit. Thank you for your service. Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Luciano.
I wanted to recognize and congratulate Carson Weber on winning the state wrestling championship this past weekend. Carson is a Shorewood resident living in Town Center, and he is a senior at Joliet West High School. Some of his accomplishments in high school include the Moore Pettyman champion, the Dvorak champion, 2-time SPC Wrestler of the Year, 4-time conference champion, 2-time regional champion, 2-time sectional finisher or champion, and 2024 third place finisher, and 2025 state champion. I thought it'd be good to recognize this gentleman for his accomplishments. So congratulations, Carson, good job. Also, the Citizens Advisory Committee will be meeting this Thursday, February 27th at 7 p.m. here at the Village Hall. As always, anyone interested in becoming involved in the committee can contact myself or any of the members through our information on the village website. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not need executive session this evening, so with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Amos, second by
Second.
trustee Brockman. Roll call, please.
Brockman.
Yeah.
Carroll.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
And Amos.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. We'll give it a